Housing Authority demolishes several homes in Linden. Guyana and Brazil sign 2 treaties. Controversy over no confidence motion at GPSU Credit Union. And minibuses, a major killer of Guyana's youth. Several houses and foundations at Amelia's Ward Linden were demolished and destroyed on Saturday because they are in the path of a proposed road, but the opposition parliamentarian Jermaine Figueira and the Region 10 RDC have already formally requested compensation and alternative land for the dislocated residents. The housing minister said notice was given to the residents, but they didn't move. In fact, he claims many of them were encouraged to squat to presumably try to force the government's hand into giving them some land. Kroll said the road must be constructed as part of the infrastructure works planned for the community. But Figueira believes the road could have been built on the other side of the area instead of directly through the encampment. While the squatters were given 2 notices, Figueira said the houses were crushed well ahead of the 12th of May deadline. When asked whether those affected residents would be provided with an alternative land, Kroll said that when they are ready to do so, the residents can go to the Central Housing and Planning Authority to be dealt with. Sounds like they'll just have to get to the back of the line. While bulldozers flattened the homes of squatters in Amelia's Ward, Linden, Nandalal and Minister Kroll met with residents of Walton Hall and Paradise communities in Region 2. And they found out that they will finally be able to process transports for their lands, which were under the cooperatives in the areas for decades. Prior to this, they were unable to undertake any investment on their lands due to the lack of documentation. The delegation went to the community to address the age-old issue of land transports in villages throughout Region 2. The United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination has written to the government requesting that it provide a response no later than July 15th of this year to allegations of various human rights violations relating to the indigenous community of Chinese Landing and the Wapichan people. In the April 29th letter, they expressed disappointment with the lack of a reply to its letters of the 17th of May and the 14th of December 2018 regarding this situation. This means, unfortunately, that this issue goes way back and spans multiple governments, thus showing you how both parties feel about our nation's indigenous people, with contempt, to say the least. The government is currently preparing to take a national population and housing census with a pilot census to be executed from May 15th to the 21st in regions 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, and 10. Expected to target approximately 730 households, this is being done in an effort to ensure the efficient execution of the upcoming national exercise by the Bureau of Statistics. Conducting a pilot census is a practice used by most censuses. It is a comprehensive test of all census procedures. During the pilot census, all stages of the census process are to be tested: mapping, interviewing, data capture, processing, and evaluation of census results. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale, this is 2016 Toyota Axio. It comes with Bluetooth, mug rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamps, electronic parking brake, park camera, and much, much more. Buy cars for $3.5 million. Or pay as low as $700,000 down, with around $68,000 monthly for 5 years, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Or visit the showrooms at 171 Pedro Street, Queenstown, or not 2 Lama Street, and tell them they can send you for the sweet, sweet deal. Guyana and Brazil on Friday signed 2 treaties. One of the treaties will see the parties offer advice on civil matters, which will include civil, labor, and administrative law, as well as criminal sentences. The other treaty strengthens mutual cooperation in criminal matters, which will see the 2 governments providing assistance to each other in connection with the investigation or prosecution of criminal offenses, including the restraint, seizure, or confiscation, along with the disposal and the return of assets. The ministries responsible for public security and justice in Guyana and Brazil will spearhead the treaties. And on Monday, Guyana signed an air service agreement with Saudi Arabia to promote the expansion of air travel between the 2 nations. Guyana was invited to sign the agreement and participate in the ongoing Future Aviation Forum being held in the capital of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. Edgel said presently there is no direct flight between Guyana and Saudi Arabia. However, this agreement puts in place the legal framework to facilitate such. Several members of the Management Committee of the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union passed a no-confidence motion against the credit union chairman, Trevor Benn. According to Gordon Mosley, several committee members are upset with Ben's leadership style and do not support many of his plans for the credit union. However, the management secretary of the credit union said that he believes the motion was unconstitutional. He singled out 5 committee members: Ruth Howard, Karen Van Slightman Corbin, Saskia Eastman, Kerwin Mars, and Arthur Gibbs for being part of a meeting that was not properly sanctioned in keeping with the credit union rules. This comes as the credit union is preparing to hold fresh elections. Although Ben was removed as chairman, he remains an ordinary member of the management committee, and he will seek to be re-elected for the chairmanship during the upcoming elections. Do you own a truck? No, I mean a real truck, like DAF, International, Freightliner, Bedford TM, or Scammell. Then come. Get high-quality truck parts at the lowest prices at Powered Automotive. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Eccles, or call them on telephone number 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. The market capitalization of the Guyana Stock Exchange crossed the $1 trillion mark at the end of trading on April 25th, 2022. Market capitalization now stands at 1.014 trillion Guyana dollars, or 4.8 billion US dollars. It moves to this figure from just 18.3 billion Guyana dollars at the end of 2003. There was a steep rise in value between 2017 and 2022. I wonder why. They said that the market capitalization to gross domestic product ratio for Guyana, which is a measure of the total value of all publicly traded stocks in a country relative to GDP, stood at 34.33% at the end of last year and is expected to rise this year. So if you have any spare money, you should probably invest in some stocks while they're still cheap. Now for today's oil update. Attorney at law Elizabeth Dean Hughes has written to both the president of ExxonMobil Guyana and the executive director of the EPA in Guyana, requesting that the planned public consultation for the gas-to-power project be halted until the expiration of the mandatory 60 days comment/objections period. Dean Hughes highlighted a number of concerns with the proposed consultations for the gas-to-power project. She argued that the consultations are nothing but a distraction. Hughes acknowledged the importance of stakeholder consultations, but outlined that it is equally important for the public review period to be honored, as citizens have just a limited time to read through the 1,400-page document before they can share their concerns on said document. She further noted that the public must be afforded noise-free time from the oil company to gain a full understanding of the gas energy project and to be able to meaningfully be engaged at the appropriate time, calling it a human right to be afforded such a time to make said decision. Well, when contacted by Kaiser News about the attorney's letter, the PR person for ExxonMobil Guyana basically said while they appreciate her concerns, they are still going ahead as planned. It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. These people even got drones, buddy! Why? 'Cause your safety is their highest priority. You've seen the rest, now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. You know what I think is stupid? The state of public transportation in Guyana. Minibuses continue to claim innocent lives on our nation's roads, and the government sits back idly as the streets pick off our youth one by one. Yes, our youth are the primary victims in fatal minibus accidents. Because children and young adults must go to school and to work, these people are basically held hostage during their twice-a-day commutes by vulgar music-blaring speed junkies they call minibus drivers. Now, of course, not all of the drivers are like this, but enough of them have gotten away with the exploitation for far too long and have ruined it for everyone else. If you ask me, the government needs to stand up to the corrupt police and shady businessmen who are keeping this hustle alive and nationalize the minibus service. They need to set the drivers to a schedule, to formal minibus stops, and a salary. They also need to assess the existing bus signs and consider the possibility of changing routes or adding new ones. Multiple foreign agencies have advised Guyana on how to activate such a new modern system. We as citizens have to force the government to act on the advice. Because expecting the government to have your best interests in mind without prompting them is pretty stupid. Now for our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Friday's question was, what questions do you have for me? Willow Darrow asked, did Gail Teixeira and Chandas Passard give up their Canadian citizenship in order to remain in the government in Ghana? Ostensibly, yes, But I will tell you this note, that Vishnu Bandhu with the URP was actually the only person out of the whole debacle to live stream and post his renunciation of his US citizenship online, and he also asked the others to do so. That was 2 years ago, and Charandas and Tejera have yet to do so. So I'm just saying. Rashad Hussain asks, why does the government take so long to appoint board of directors? These boards control the majority of government organizations, and without them, some of the organizations can't function, or they are open to corruption, so why withhold the boards for such lengthy times? Well, Rashad, you've actually answered your own question within said question. That is the exact reason why they take so long. At least in my opinion. Lash asks if I went to the Guyana Press Association conferences and how I felt about the comments, especially the social influencers versus journalists and the role of politicians. No, I didn't go because I didn't want them to use my face for government propaganda, but I did watch from home, and honestly, I found the Press Association's comments to be exactly spot on. I'd explain further, but I'd probably just dedicate that to another stupid news. Darren Van der Stoop asks if I think that the government can do a way better job at developing sports countrywide, but more importantly, broadcasting and modernization of sports facilities, etc. Yes, I feel that they can actually make a lot of money off of that. But, it doesn't really seem to be a priority. My apologies if we didn't read your question, but we are running out of time. So, before we get to tonight's question, you can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way to earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for tonight's question. What should the government do with the current minibus service? Should they regulate it? Should they nationalize it? Or should they just leave it as is? I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks.